Okay, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Unfuck Yourself podcast. It's me, Allie, we're back. Sorry if you hear so much noise going around my whole house. We have so many people here. We have Justin yelling at the dogs outside because they're barking at a truck. We have Nikki just got back. We have other people coming to. It's just like a full situation, and I was gonna wait, but I have so much to share right now that I couldn't wait. We've got to do it right now, and it is what it is. So if you hear background noise, we have some unpaid actors today. They should be paid actors at this point. If you hear the dogs bark, they're pretty much paid actors in everything I do at this point. They, the universe my higher self loves to give me incredible reflections of my dogs barking while I do anything that I'm recording. So if you hear them, they get to be part of the podcast today. Okay, I'm so excited because today's episode is going to be a deep dive on self-image, why you should care about it, the actual source perspective and the source truth of self-image. Now, if you may have saw on my Instagram story the other day, I did a poll and I said, what do you want me to go down a rabbit hole talking about for the next few months? I like to do little themes and little eras of things. So I'll do sometimes like a universal law theme. I'll do an intuition theme. I'll do just any kind of theme that I love to go on a deep dive on. One thing about me is I cannot be surface level. I can't just share a quick little 20-second quote on Instagram. If I'm making an Instagram reel, it's going to be 2 to 3 minutes. I would make it 10 if I could. If I'm making a podcast, we're going on a deep dive. We're not just brushing over the surface of things. So I did a poll and I said, hey, what do you guys want me to go on a deep dive next for the next few months? And I did either kind of glow formula vibes of self-image, self-love, why that's fucking important, why that's the key to life, why it's the key to actually anything you desire to create in life. Things like energetic boob jobs, things like how to not get wrinkles, things like is aging real or is it made up? And really a deep dive into that and how to reverse age and that kind of whole situation. So it was a pretty even split. Oh, it was between that. Sorry, I forgot to tell you the other thing it was between. It was between that and it was between diving into the creator field, specifically around what ingredients have to be in your creator field to create money. Now, don't freak out. Anyone who wanted one or the other, we're going to do probably both because these are two deep dives that I really want to go on. However, we're going to start with the self-image deep dive because honestly, it's the foundation to everything. If we don't have self-image and self-love foundations, then learning anything else is honestly a little bit of a waste of time. So let's start with this deep dive. We're going to be on just a little self-image, self-love deep dive and why you should care, why it's important for the next few months. And then bear with me, we will get into the creator field deep dive soon. Okay, so in this episode, we are going into all things self-image. So self-love. I'm ahead of myself. The next podcast is about self-image. I already have that planned out too. I'm so excited about that one. We are diving into all things self-love, okay? Now, why self-love is important is for so many reasons. And if you think this won't apply to you, just hold on a minute because you would be fucking shocked how much your levels of self-love determine what you're creating, what you're manifesting, and how people are treating you in your life. If you want to be someone's value, someone's priority, someone's top value, someone's top priority, if you want people to make you a priority, money to make you a priority, your job to make you a priority, whatever it is to make you a priority, then you are going to want to listen to this. And even if you've been in my courses before and you're like, nah, I've mastered self-image, I just want to say something. I've been learning and practicing self-love for the past 9 years now. And even recording this podcast today and writing down the notes that I want to make for that I want to talk about for this, today I found multiple areas of my life, 9 years in, where my self-love can be way higher, okay? And I even dive into an extremely personal example in here today of why and how it can be insanely higher and what I'm doing to make it low. Or even if you are new to this work and let's say you've never heard me talk about self-love at all, whether you're new, whether you're not new, if anytime the ego says, I don't need this or I already learned this, it means you really, really need it or you gotta hear it again. The ego will try to fight to the death to protect its old limiting belief systems, okay? So mine will do it too. We all do it. The ego will try to not get fired essentially because you can fire the ego once you learn how to have emotional mastery and complete balance. But until then, the ego will fight to the death to try to stand up for its own limiting belief system. So if you're like, oh no, I don't need this, or I know self-love, or I already learned this, that is a telling sign you really need to listen to it, because I'll do that too. I'll kind of be like, oh, well, I've done self-love 9 years of, I've been practicing and learning and implementing and embodying self-love for the past 9 years. Like, I wouldn't need, like, my self-love's totally high. I'm good. I'm cool. No. During taking notes on what I want to talk about today, I was seeing so many ways and so many areas of my life of how it's not, so which we will get into. Okay, so first thing I want to start with is the idea of self-love and putting yourself first is not being selfish. A lot of the reason why people never understood this is because the people who talk about this or teach this, they're not doing it justice, and a lot of pieces are being left out. Let's say that. And pieces may be being left out because we've been all taught wrong, so then you're just repeating what you've been taught without really searching, using intuition, searching for actual answers from source. Or maybe the people you're learning from are intentionally leaving it out because, like we talked about in Dark Forces, some people have not the greatest intentions. But either way, that's a different thing for a different day. However, anyone who has things that you desire to achieve, it is very, very, very hard to do without self-love. It is the key to the life you desire. We won't get things that we aren't ready to be able to hold onto, right? So let's say in order for us to have a bunch of money that prioritizes us, that comes to us, that people want to pay us over everyone else. Like, let's say you are selling clothes and you own a boutique. For people to come to your boutique instead of the person's boutique down the street, you would have to have a high level of self-love. And I'll explain why in a second. Now, in my experience, if you decide to work on this now, you are going to gain access to the support, admiration, and help from your higher self in the universe to be able to support you in acquiring and creating more of these things that you desire. So, I want to define self-love. And real quick, if you're someone and you're sitting there and you're going, my self-love is great, when it comes down to everyone I have read energetically, intuitively, ever, the common self-love was around like literally anywhere between like 8% to 20%, 20% being the highest. And that's out of 100%. In order for people to consider us, put us first, and value us, we have to have high levels of self-love, okay? Just like I said, if we want the people to pay us with whatever we're doing, or you want someone to give you a raise over someone else, you have got to have in your creator field that I'm a priority. So self-love is essentially putting yourself first. That is a source definition of self-love, but not in the way that you think, and we're going to really dive into that. So bear with me on that. But what happens is this is a deep, deep, strong programming in your creator field. And the creator field shapes all people's relationships, people in your life, situations, circumstances, and events. And this actually has nothing to do with like a spiritual lesson. This is actually science. This just is. It's the law of electricity and forces, okay? And the thing is that if we got a grip on this, we could change everything in our life. If we got a grip on how to control our creator field, and especially self-love and self-image levels, because those are the key to unlock anything and everything that you desire in life, self-love being the thing we're talking about today. People have labeled self-love as selfish and pointless. Like, what's the point of it? And self-love is the main control of how people value us, okay? It is the main control of how people value us. Essentially, self-love is the ability to put yourself first no matter what. What it does is it places in your creator field a script that people will willingly prioritize you and favor you. In the spiritual world, they teach you to do whatever you can for the world, and then the world will reward you. Don't worry about your own needs. Go out there and do it for God and do it for source, and then you'll get rewarded. People teach you to put everyone else before yourself. They teach you to literally be drained, tired, help everyone else, do everything for everyone else with this false promise that you're going to be rewarded spiritually for that. And unfortunately, that's not how the source science laws of the universe works. That's not how your creator field works. This will actually do the opposite. If we go with this, it doesn't work that way with creator fields, okay? If we give, and don't address our needs, the program in our creator field, it solidifies, okay? And your script then that's radiating off your creator field is basically saying, no matter what, I cannot put you first. And that's what people are feeling from you. So they look at you and they think, no matter what, I can't put you first. You meaning you listening to this right now. So if this is Allie, if this is me having the script in my creator field, and I had in my creator field, no matter what, I can't put you first. You, because I would be talking to myself as you, right? Other people would then think, no matter what, I can't prioritize Allie. Like, I got to put Allie last. I got to do everything else. And then I can maybe do what Allie needs from me or whatever. And that is not the script that we want in our creator field, because what does that do? That stops us from getting the relationships we want. You don't feel prioritized in your relationship. Your self-love is probably not as high as it could be. You don't feel prioritized in people wanting to buy what you're selling and they're going somewhere else to buy it. That's because your self-love is not as high as it could be. You don't feel prioritized by family, by anything ever. You feel like you are not in any area of life. You feel not prioritized by. You feel like they're not seeing your value. The thing's not seeing your value. You keep being in situations where your value isn't seen. It is a great telling sign that your self-love is probably way lower than your higher self desires it to be. What we are told and applauded for, and remember, what gets rewarded gets repeated, it is to give, and if you have some time at the end of the day for yourself, then you can finally give to yourself. So it's to give to other people. And then if you have some time toward the end of the day, then you can do that thing for yourself that you wanted. Or then you can learn that thing you've been wanting to learn. Or then you can go get the massage. Or then you can go do your meditation. Or then you can go, watch that TV show you want. But we've been taught the polar opposite of what actually needs to happen. Because this puts a script in your creator field that other people just can feel the thought of, I can't put you first. Whether they're tapped into their intuition or not, they're fucking feeling this, because once again, our creator fields are what dictates all the people in our lives, all relationships in our lives, the situations, circumstances, and events we find ourselves in and around. And this script that we're writing, we are handing out to everyone and all matter around us, okay? Which is all the matter around us are the people, places, situations, circumstances, events. We think that people would notice something like, Allie's running on empty. Let's step in and help her and fill her up. But because of how the creator field works, the creator field makes that nearly impossible if we aren't making ourselves a priority. And again, we dive into this self-love concept way deeper in the Glow Formula program. We'll link the waitlist in the show notes. Y'all have been bullying me to put the program out again. And I'm sure, I don't know. I'm not sure if I will. I was going to say I'm sure I will, but honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure if I will yet, because it's a very advanced program and I want to make sure everyone gets the foundations of it first. And the foundations will be here on the podcast and my free content on social media. But once we get the foundations of it, and if you're ready, then I will open the advanced program and we will open doors and have that going. But until then, it's just really important we get the foundations before we go advanced anyway. So I want to put all the foundations and see how we're doing, see where we're at, see what questions we have on the podcast before we even go ahead and open that. Anyway, back to not making yourself a priority, okay? This means that every single person who comes into your world who would want to give back to you, they literally scientifically can't. Even if they want to, because of the laws of the universe, because of how your creator field is programmed, they literally are not able to scientifically. If it's written in our creator field and our levels of being able to put ourselves first are at a 20% out of 100%, you will get your ass kicked in the areas you want someone to give to you. So let's say you're so depleted at work and you're so depleted and you're at home and you do everything at home and you go to work and you make the money and then you go home and you do everything at home and then you still feel you're doing all this because you want to show your husband or your wife or whoever you live with love, and you hope that you doing all of this, that you doing the most is going to get them to finally help you out or see that you're drained and want to help you or give you that amount of love and reciprocation back. But it's not how it works. And if you're thinking, well, I don't know if this is true. There's not just 2 or 3 or 4 areas of life. There's 8 areas of life. You guys have been asking me about these, and we will get into these and all the 8 areas and what they mean and why they matter inside of Glow Formula 2. But anyway, you may be making yourself a priority in one area of life. Like you may be thinking right now, well, no, Allie, I'm making myself a priority financially. But you may not be making yourself a priority with your health, or you may not be making yourself a priority with your hobbies, or you may not be making yourself a priority in your career. There's so many different areas of life, in your spirituality, in your mental health, right? And I'm giving away some of these areas of life here. So you're thinking right now, the areas of life maybe where you may be giving yourself priority, but there's 7 other areas of life that you may not be. So even if you're not making yourself a priority in just one area of life, it will massively affect your creator field. The ego is going to say, no, I'm good. I'm not missing this. The ego will be fighting to the death, trying to protect its old belief system of the more I give, the more I receive. That is an old belief system, and that is not true. The more I give to others, the more I receive. Take it out of your vocabulary. Could not be farther from the truth. I mean, seriously, how many times have you ever tried to overgive in a relationship in hopes that the other person will reciprocate that back? And time and time again, you're met with disappointment. Okay, seriously, like it's happened to all of us. Challenge your ego. Ask yourself, well, how often has overgiving and putting my needs last actually worked out in my favor? If you're anything like me, because I can for sure relate to doing this, it has not worked in my favor, not even one time. Because even if we think it makes people love us more in the moment, even if we think us putting other people first in the moment is working in our favor, there's no long-term or even short-term, a few hours later for that matter, benefits. We go home feeling depleted, frustrated, and resentful, and even lonely. Like I have felt so lonely when I have given my all to everyone else before making myself a priority first. Now, there is a way to give your all to everyone, even better when you put yourself first, and we'll get into that in a second. Like we're not being like selfish Sallys over here. Like trust me, we're going to get to how putting ourselves first and prioritizing ourselves actually helps us better serve other people in a second. But are we getting that? If I'm putting, do not, no matter what, put me first in my creator field, that's what I'm getting back. And how we put that in our creator field is by literally thinking that everyone else and everything else is a priority over us, and we take action on that as well. You know the saying, treat other people the way you want to be treated. While that's true, obviously, like don't be an asshole, how the source science works behind actual self-love and how to actually get people to prioritize you is you actually treating yourself how you desire to be treated. If you desire to be valued and prioritized, you've got to get in the habit of putting yourself first, making yourself a priority. Because then that will create a program in your creator field that says, I'm a priority, I'm valuable, I'm meaningful, I am an important person to prioritize and value. And then you will get that back. People will start to buy what you're selling. They'll start to come to you over the other person selling what you're selling. Relationships will prioritize you way more. Everyone will just know, like, you know those people where you just know to respect them. You just know their time's important. You just know that you don't want to waste their time. You just know that you have to make sure that they're a priority. It's because those people have a program running in their creator field that they are a priority and they are valuable and they put themselves first and they pay attention to their own needs, fill themselves up before they go out in the day and prioritize and help everyone else. So all of that being said, just keep that in mind throughout this whole entire podcast episode. So when you start to put yourself first, amazing things start to happen. The art of high levels of self-love is essentially putting into your creator field a belief system that says, I am most important. Now, before you're like, that's so selfish, Allie, like, what am I listening to? Who the fuck is this bitch telling me this? According to Source, the true definition of self-love is fill yourself up to the maximum. The best amounts of sleep, the best food for yourself, high levels of happiness, high levels of growth, high levels of things that light you up. What happens when we do that? You feel good. You feel like your life is thriving. If you are getting those daily, your energy levels massively go up. You have a joy for life and have insane energy. Now, with your energy levels being high and you having a passion to help people in some way, shape, or form, which if you're listening to this, I bet you do you think you'd be in fight or flight and depleted going to help people and resentful? Or do you think you'd be energized and so filled up from life that you'd be excited to help people? Not giving to yourself first, actually, contrary to belief, is the most selfish thing. It is the most selfish thing you can do. And sorry if you hear my dogs barking and all the cars in the driveway. So many people are rolling up to my house right now. But it's not going to stop us from doing this podcast. So again, not giving to yourself first, it's actually the most, like, contrary to popular belief, the most selfish thing you can do. Because think about it. If you are putting other people first because you think that's going to allow them to give you more love, you think, oh, if I'm backing off, like dismissing my own needs, putting this other person's needs first before I do anything for myself that day, because I think that then they are going to then put my needs first, that's so selfish. That's so selfish to think that you giving to someone else, then you expect them to then give to you. And then you start to get resentful time after time after time if they don't. The first time, maybe not. The second time, maybe not. The third time, maybe not. The 10th time, maybe not. But after a matter of time, that resentment's gonna build up. You think that you then put this pressure on them to then reciprocate that. And that is actually such a selfish thing. Putting yourself first is the most selfless thing that you can do, because when you make yourself a priority, when you fill yourself up first, you are now operating at 100%. Okay, you are filling yourself up 100%. When you fill yourself up 100%, you can then give 100%. If you're only filling yourself up 20%, if you only have 20% of that prioritizing, then you can only give other people 20%. So putting yourself first, making yourself a priority is the most selfless thing that you can do, because then, one, you don't expect anything back from other people because you're already giving it to yourself, and then you don't need it, and then you're like cool with it, and then when you don't need something, you end up getting it. When we want, when we want someone to prioritize us, they're not going to do it. It's pushing them away because of the laws of the universe, the law of opposing forces. But when we give these things to ourselves, when we make ourselves a priority, when we value ourselves and put ourselves first before going out and helping the world, now we have 100% of love to then give to others. And we can show up at 100%. Like, it is so selfless because you can now give 100% versus giving 20%. Giving yourself the non-negotiable of what you need so you can be the best and highest frequency version self, so you can give great levels of help to somebody else. This is the Source definition of self-love. And it took me a minute to learn this because personally, I thought I could outlove someone and then they would love me back the same. What that actually does is it pushes them away even more, because you're giving them this love, but it's almost like this selfish love you're kind of giving them, because you think either that if I love this particular person so much, then they'll reciprocate it, or you have that limiting spiritual matrix programming that's not true of the more I give, the more the universe will give back to me. So either way, it kind of starts to become a selfish thing of like why we're prioritizing other people over us. And I used to do that same thing. I used to think like, oh, if I give all this to this person and if I offer this to this person, then they're going to reciprocate it. And then I'm going to feel that equal amount of love back from them, and they're going to fill the void that I'm feeling. Well, that void that you're feeling of love in your heart isn't a void from other people. It's a void from lack of love of yourself. It's a void from lack of prioritizing and valuing yourself. That's the void in your heart you're feeling. And as long as you try and fill that void through other people and other things, it's going to feel really empty and really, really lonely. The only person who can fill that actual self-love, that actual prioritizing and valuing yourself void is you. Think about it this way. It's literally science, okay? Think about if you have a car and someone asks you for a ride. To be the opposite of selfish, we would have to go fill up our gas tank first and then give them a ride, right? Fill up the gas tank so then give them a ride to where they have to go so that you don't lose gas on the highway. If someone asks for a ride and you show up with like 20% of a gas tank, and you got to go far, you're going to then run out of gas on the ride. It's going to take longer. You're going to have to call AAA. Someone's going to have to go get you gas. They're going to miss their flight or wherever you're taking them. And it's just not going to work. So it's the same thing in our own life. So for example, I have a story about when I was putting my business first over me. And I convinced myself that I was still putting myself first, but I wasn't. I was putting my business first, but I was thinking, oh, it's my business. I'm Allie. It's Allie's business. Like I was trying to my ego was trying to convince myself that I was putting myself first, but I wasn't. I was putting my business first. And I still go on and off with that. Like I still really actually have to watch that for myself. But what happened is I was putting my business, I was waking up and immediately doing creator work and creator field work in my creator field for my business. I was immediately doing something that had to do with business. I was immediately just going straight to building the brand and business and nurturing it and giving to it and answering DMs and all these things. So I was putting the business over myself. Now what happened was I was starting to get really depleted and I felt no one was actually doing this. It was just how I was perceiving my world because of the lack of priority that I was giving to myself. I felt like, oh my God, people just really are taking advantage of my time. Oh my God, people just really don't care that we're way over the class time and they still keep asking more questions. People really just, or even it really showed up in my relationship. It showed up in where, I would be working my business all day and then I would go out of my office at home and then Justin would make himself dinner and then he wouldn't have made me dinner. He made himself dinner, not even thinking of oh, let me make extra for Allie. And, it's so easy to want to blame him, right? Of course, it's so easy to want to blame the other person, but he's just matching my creator field. And that's what taking radical responsibility is. Because you can easily go to the next person and they won't reflect you for the first 6 months, but then 6 months in, they're going to start to reflect you. People say the honeymoon phase. It's not a honeymoon phase. It's just, you're just not getting reflections usually in that phase as much as to the extent as you would be. So what happened was I'm starting to get pissed. I'm oh my God, now my own boyfriend who knows that I am doing the most all day long is making dinner and won't even doesn't even think to make extra for me. I'm okay, I'm done. I'm so pissed. So I take the radical responsibility and I go, okay, where am I not prioritizing myself? And I'm oh my God, Allie, duh. You're putting your business, you're waking up, putting your business first before you every single day of your life. Even though it's my business, I'm still putting it before me. It's its own consciousness. My business is its own separate entity. I'm putting it before me. So I had to start to go, okay, even if it's 10 minutes in the morning of just dancing around to a song or doing something that I want to do, or even just doing breath work or sitting in the sauna or getting a workout in or whatever before I start the business stuff for the day is going to do fucking wonders. Wonders. Now there's a vacuum going in the background. Sorry if you can hear that. I am having a lot of reflections today recording this podcast with all of the noise, but I will work through that in a different podcast with you and let you know what that's about because we've got to stick to self-love here. So we want to blame other people. We want to go to the next relationship. We want to go to the next job. We want to go to the next thing. We want to say it's the client's fault, or people are ridiculous for going to buy what they're selling and not mine. We want to blame. But here's the problem. It's our problem, not theirs. It's our creator field creating it, and we can't outrun our creator field. Our creator field follows us, unfortunately, to every single relationship, to every single job, to every single situation, circumstance, and event. So we really can't. There's no one else to blame but ourselves. And it's not about blaming ourselves or shaming ourselves. It's just about going, that's interesting that I'm the common denominator of not feeling a priority. How can I start to shift that and create a better life for myself? Self-love is going I'm going to help you so good. I'm going to help you so much, but I have to be at 100% to be able to do that. Okay, we can only pour how much love we have. So if we only have 18% of self-love levels, we can literally only give 18% to other people. But if we fill ourselves up 100%, we can then give 100% to other people. So self-love is the most selfless thing that we can actually do. Source's definition of self-love is not to never help anyone. It's to fill yourself up 100% so you can be the best of service 100%. This will actually start to physically change the way you look. Think about a man or a woman who is constantly doing for others and never for themselves. You can see it in their face. You can see it in their back. Their shoulders are hunched over. They almost look dull. Like their energy almost looks dull. They look tired. They're getting more wrinkles. Like they're getting gray hair faster. They're gaining maybe weight they don't want. They're not as in shape. It literally takes a physical toll on your body. You want to start to glow. You've got to start to prioritize yourself. Then even think about women who then, the ones who are going to the spa, are doing things they love, are doing their hobbies, or filling themselves up, or going to Pilates, or are going on their walks, are learning how to prioritize themselves. They're glowing. They're glowing. And now before you say, I don't have money for that right now. I don't have money to go to the spa. I don't have money for this. Listen, I was able to have high self-love levels with $0, with negative dollars actually in my bank account when I first started doing and learning this work and implementing it. It's learning something on a podcast or YouTube that lights you up. If this lights you up, it's listening to this podcast on a walk. It's going for a walk. It's doing an at-home workout. It's journaling. It's meditating. It's dancing around. It's doing something. It's coloring in the little coloring books. Whatever it is, doing something that lights you up. And all of us run on empty and go do favors. You'd be shocked how quick that you can get filled up before doing that. You can do the right thing for your energy and what your higher self wants for 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, to be filled up, to then go give 100%. Like, it's not this like big, long drawn out thing, which I think some people think it is. They're like, well, I don't have time to just like drive to the massage, get the massage, drive home from the massage. Like, I get it. Do plan that once a week or something or whatever. But every morning you can wake up 5 minutes earlier and you can just learn 5 minutes of something you love, or you can do your little creator field exercise, or do your little energy work healing that we teach over here, or do whatever it is for 5 minutes. And that in itself is enough right now to start to really fill up your levels. You should want to do this because your help will be the best. And when you are showing up the best, that is your reputation. That is really, really important. Okay, we want to have the good reputation of like, oh my gosh, she always shows up the best. Imagine if I showed up on this podcast or anywhere in my business at 20% self-love levels, my reputation wouldn't be what it is. And that's why I have no problem canceling on people. My team, I'll tell my team, I'm like, hey, gotta cancel the day today. I won't be able to show up at 100% me. I value people's time, energy, and money they spend on whatever it is they're doing with me, whether it's a session, a live, a course, whatever, so much that if I can't show up at my 100% best self because I haven't made myself a priority or whatever, or I'm feeling like low on steam, on gas, I'm not fucking showing up. You're either getting 100% of me or you're getting fucking nothing, because I refuse to show up at half of that, because I won't be the best of service and at my best possible energy of service that I could be. And I value people's time, energy, and money so much that I'm not going to fucking risk that and risk my reputation and risk other people, not getting what they could out of the courses or the session or whatever. And so I've had to cancel on sessions 2 to 3 times in a row of the same person just because they so happen to be rescheduled on a day where, again, I'm feeling depleted. I would so much rather do that than have someone pay all this money and spend all this time on a session and get half of me. Like, we're not doing that over here. And it's insanely common, by the way, to be bopping around life at a 20% fill. And if at any time your ego is going, that's not me, then it definitely means it's for sure you. With self-love and self-image, our ego, like I've noticed our ego, and I've seen it in clients and myself, our ego really likes to take over with these two topics, because these two topics, self-love and self-image, are the key, are the foundation to everything. If you have any kind of problem, it comes down to either low self-image or low self-love, or both. If you have any kind of problem, the root cause is always, always, always either a low self-image or a low self-love. So this is the foundation to anything you will learn ever, even about creator field work. For those guys for you guys who voted for the creator field money work, this applies to that too. This is actually the foundation for that, which is why I'm even doing this in the first place first. So it's insanely kind of be bopping around life just with 20% filled up out of 100. And anytime your ego wants to say, that's not me, or I'm not doing that, or try and deny something and fight to the death of how it's not you, it means it's most definitely you times 10. Anytime the ego speaks up, it's trying to cover up a problem. It doesn't, again, want you to like fire it. You can fire the ego when you gain emotional mastery over things. So now, what can you do to feel this way? What can you do to get high levels of self-love and self-image? I'm glad you asked. Great question. Ask yourself, what would get me jumping out of bed right now or jumping for joy for life? Is it learning something? Is it listening to a song? Is it going on a quick run? Is it sitting in the sauna? Is it going in the bath and sweating? Is it going on a walk? Is it coloring? It could be anything. Like what would get you just excited about life right now? Even if it's like an energy recovery that we teach here or the energy works that we teach here, like that gets me excited. If I get to do that for myself, I'm feeling good. So even just for 5 minutes, would it get you excited to start to program your creator field with some things? Like what gets you excited? Can you do 5 minutes of it? Just start with 5 minutes of it in the morning. So wake up 5 minutes earlier and you are going to see an insane difference, okay? When someone asks you to do something, even though it's so hard to do something for yourself first, you've got to do it. Now, it's important to know too that after learning this, your higher self hears you, that you are learning this, and it's basically going to vet you. Meaning, don't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest at all if after listening to this, you get at least one, and that's very low, one situation this week where your higher self orchestrates a perfect opportunity for you to prioritize yourself before helping or giving to someone else. This happens all the time. So this is how our higher self can make us better. So if you think about it, like how can our higher self make us better at putting ourselves first? Well, it gives us situations where we have to choose to. We don't just wake up one day and know how to put ourselves first. Our higher self goes, oh, they want to put themselves first? I'm going to give them the perfect situations that's going to basically force them to put themselves first, or else they're going to get pissed, resentful, and feel like shit, basically. And we will be tested. And it's not tested out of like a punishment or because you're wrong or like a bad kind of test. It's tested to gain mastery and to help you get what you are asking for. You're asking to be more of a priority. You're asking for people to see your value. You're asking to people to pay you. You're asking to be have a raise or whatever it is. You're asking for your relationship to value and put you as a priority and take you on date nights and plan them and whatever. You're asking for it. You're asking for it. In some area of life, you're asking for it. So we all are. I've been doing this for 9 years and I'm still asking for it. So if your ego's saying you're not, I'm good, the ego, again, is trying to stop you from accessing a new level of your highest potential. So when you speak to yourself on a daily basis, I want you to start to get the programming of I'm the most important. The more I fill myself up, the more that I can also give to others. And the better I show up and the more I show up for myself, the more other people also then show up for me. It's like killing two birds with one stone. Like you can get many things accomplished in your creator field with this, adopting this energy, these thoughts, this belief system, this program in your creator field. So new levels then, what happens with this is new levels then of helping people comes with new levels of self-love. So at first, when I was like just starting my business, I could get away with like 5 minutes in the morning for myself and like one massage a week. Well, now I'm helping way more people. The new levels of people I'm helping, thousands and thousands or whatever it is, right? I am hundreds of thousands on TikTok or wherever. I am now at new levels holding space and helping a lot more people, showing up for a lot more people on a daily basis. So that means my levels of prioritizing myself have to also hike up. What was happening to me was I was still in like the beginning stages of self-love. I was like 5 minutes in the morning and then like one massage a week. And I was like, that did it for me for a minute. But then I noticed I was helping more people and I was feeling depleted again, even though I was still doing those things, the 5 minutes in the morning, the 1 massage a week. Well, I then realized, oh wait, because I'm giving more, I have to now give to myself more. The more I give to others, the more I've got to make sure I give to myself first. So now your girl is like, has a whole morning situation where it's blocked out of my calendar. I'm like, nobody talk to me. No, I'm not talking to anyone like until I'm done with this. Not no one talk to me, but like, I'm not answering until I'm done with this. And I have so many beauty things going on throughout the week because that's what feels good to me. You don't need the beauty things. That's not like what you need to do, but that's what feels good to me and fills me up. Like I'm getting my nails done. I'm getting my hair blown out. I'm getting massages. I'm getting lymphatic drainage massages. I'm going to Pilates. I'm taking the 50 minutes it takes to drive to my favorite Pilates class called Solid Core, my favorite one. And instead of going, oh no, I don't have time. I got to do so much other things. Don't have the time to drive. I'm going, no. I'm a priority. I'm first. I'm finding the time to drive there because it's my favorite Pilates class. I'm going. And then my schedule can be adjusted as such. And my schedule too, I'm really careful about my schedule. Like my schedule, I am not adding, I don't care who needs to get something in or a session in quick. They're not getting in quick if there's no room. Like I'm not squeezing anyone in because again, it would be doing them a disservice too. Be doing myself a disservice, which would be doing them a disservice because I would not be able to show up 100% for them. So play this episode over and over and over again. There's a lot of good stuff in here. And this is step 1, the foundation to the Glow Formula program, to just self-image healing, okay? This is step 1, foundation number 1, self-love, which the source definition is making yourself the most important so that then you can 100% show up for others. You feel good, other people feel good, everyone feels good, everybody wins, okay? Let me know what you think on this podcast. Share it to friends who would benefit from this, and I will see you in the next episode of my Self-Image Mastery Foundations. Okay, bye.